Hey guys, welcome back to some Gilded Guardians. In today's video, we're going to be looking at 5 things that we really need to see some updates in, some improvements in, some changes. Now, at this point, I believe we're in the second season, third season, but we're going on 2+ months that we have been playing Gilded Guardians. And overall, when it comes to the adventure mode, guys, this is really the only thing that we see. Now, we know Act 2 is going to be coming eventually. We don't know exactly when, but when it comes to the adventure itself, now this, of course, in my opinion, is one of the absolute prime areas of the game that need a huge revamp. Now, of course, if you're like me, I come in here whenever I do have the energy. You can see I have 2 more up here. I go ahead and I do sweep my challenge 3s, which we have completed with all of the different modes, but going in here and getting the same loot every single day. And honestly, they might have to change it up a little bit, possibly adding some more challenge modes to the existing content, just to keep players engaged, and also adding in, hopefully, Act 2. I'm assuming it might be 4 more lands or 4 more essentially places to this world map that we're going to have to explore. But of course, with that comes a very, very big commitment. If you're a free-to-play player, unfortunately, this is an area that is incredibly hard to get through. But when you get through here, and of course, getting through here is very dependent on the gear, yet getting through the content unlocks the gear. So again, that's something that we kind of have to battle with. But when it comes to the overall game itself, and again, thinking of the content, thinking of the storyline and everything, it's very lackluster in compared to other mobile games that I've played. You know, looking at Raid, looking at AFK Arena, looking at some of the other games that do have a lot more depth when it comes to the campaign or when it comes to the world map. So I feel like this is a place that we could definitely do a lot more, have a lot more interaction, a lot more gameplay. And again, going through here, especially on the harder challenge modes, you only fight 3 battles. So again, I know they wanted to simplify it for the time constraint, but overall, there's nothing to do in here. And this is where I feel like a lot of players are missing a lot of the engagement, is there isn't anything to do in the world map once you get to a certain point. Now, of course, another big sticking point in this game is the Enlightenment and also the Radiance. Now, when it comes to Radiance, I know, again, through the AMA, through a couple discussions, that they're looking at the cost of it in ways to actually make it a little bit cheaper, a little bit more efficient, because overall, when you start getting into those higher level Radiance, it just gets super, super expensive. Even right here, if I put in 5,000 of my Radiant Souls, I'm getting a 5% Radiance increase chance. Now, of course, you might have to do this over and over and over and over again until you actually get this success. Success rate increases upon failure. So essentially, this is built out. So if I attempt this 8 times, so think about this. If I attempt this 8 times and it is at 5,000 or 5,000, 5K a shot, if I have to do it all 8 times to get the Radiance, you're talking about 40,000 essence that we're using in here. With that, you know, we get 2,000 for a Radiant Guardian that we sacrifice. 40,000 means that you are sacrificing an insane amount of heroes to actually build up the Radiance. That is the reason why a lot of players and most players have said, when you're using duplicate Guardians, if you're building your core 1 or your generation 1, or if you're using those cracked hearts, which unfortunately I haven't picked up another one, any of the NFTs, if you're using them as your sacrificial material, it is actually going to be able to level them up, or you can actually get Radiance up. And again, it is a certain percentage chance. And then to really supplement what it doesn't contain or what it doesn't fill to the maximum amount of Radiance you can get, you have to go in and again use Radiant Souls. Now, of course, a lot of players have said mathematically, looking at this, the failure rate has been exponentially high, where even if you have a chance, like a 75% chance, a lot of players are failing on the first attempt, which we know we've seen it as well when we were actually doing the Radiant level. I believe it was Tavros. We were trying to go to 5. Unfortunately, we didn't get to 5. And again, some of these that we haven't been able to Radiant much higher. And even looking here, thinking of the sheer cost, so we have 6,000 here. If I wanted to Radiant T-Rock, so taking them a little bit higher, even looking at the 6,000, we're only at 57%. So we still need to add, and I think 10,000 might actually cap this with how many we're going to have to use within here. But again, the cost and the return, because right now heroes are running about $10, $12, $15 for each copy to get a 5 Enlightenment Radiant hero. So you're running $10. So you figure if you got to sacrifice 40,000 heroes or 5 heroes for every 10,000, so you're talking an incredible amount. I mean, you're talking hundreds of dollars just for kind of a baseball analogy at bat to get a Radiance up. So again, that is something absolutely has to be looked at, which is the same with crafting. I know the auto merge did make a really big difference, but when you're going in here and you're doing this crafting, it is super tedious. It is very, very difficult. And then for them to go and make, you know, level 1, 2, and 3 of tier 6 gear, it's already hard enough to get gear. And I can't imagine, because when they come out with tier 7 gear, so right now we are forging and we're really building up this tier 6 gear. If tier 7 gear, or when tier 7 gear is introduced, all of your tier 6 that we've been working for months and months and months to get is essentially going to be garbage at that point. We've been looking here, we've been trying to build out a couple pairs of boots, and boom, we got another pair, which means we're gonna fuse again. Oh, never mind, we have our 2 legendary. I've been fusing, taking my epic boots, so getting essentially 3 pairs of my epic boots, fusing them into, of course, what you see right here with the legendary boots. And unfortunately, it hasn't been going too well, because when I've been crafting, it's just been time and time and time again that we're seeing epic boot after epic boot. And of course, even looking at some of the ones that I forged or put together, they really don't meet the cut. Even looking at inventory right here, is some of these boots right here, this is essentially a tier 6 level 1. This is a tier 6 level 1. When I've been combining them, that is all we've been seeing. And I'm wondering if we can go ahead and do this one more time. Now, of course, it does make it a lot faster when you're doing the auto merge, but you still do need the crafting materials to go ahead and build it out. And I'm wondering if we have 2 of our logs right here. Let's go ahead and auto merge this. I'm wondering if we can pick up 2 more of the logs, which we do, which 1, 2, 3, 4. We have enough for 1 more pair of boots, because I want to see moving these into and watch it be a mythic pair, which it is. Of course, now we can go ahead though, and we can do the mythic, because again, this is a tier 6 level 2. But let's see what we actually produce out of the 3. Now, of course, we have a level 2, level 1, all 3 tier 6s. Boom, we'll go ahead and combine that. We get a level 2, and again, it's a tier 6. So decent, but looking at all the stats, we got attack on these, and then attack. This could work for some heroes if you're just literally stacking attack. But overall, they are epic stats. As you can see, they are purple. No legendary stats, even with a combination. And I'm almost curious if we put a couple of tier 6 boots together, if we're actually going to have the ability to build them out much further, or if it will automatically, if 3 tier 6 level 2s will give us a tier 6 level 3. Now, I don't think that is the case, unfortunately. And of course, if that is the case, we might have to utilize it and might save up that gear. Now, of course, the 4th point that we look at is the summoning and the heroes. This is really something where when you look at the heroes that we've had to this game, again, looking at the founder heroes, you know, there's been a bunch of heroes released before the game came out, but since the release, we have seen 2 new heroes. That's right. When you think of the release schedule, when you think of the ability to get some heroes, especially looking for the diversity, really building different formations, utilizing different hero strengths, even looking at some of our regular heroes, the rare heroes don't really make it. I mean, there's really only 1 epic hero that actually does incredibly well, 1 or 2. Again, if you're free to play getting the epic heroes, a lot of players are using legendary heroes. But again, when you look at formations, a lot of the formations are the exact same, because we're super limited with the heroes that you can get in here. And even looking at the summons in general, these are the same heroes that we've actually seen since the game's released. Since the official global release, we have seen literally the same heroes every single time. There's a legendary Tybor right there, which again, with the legendary heroes, if you caught some of the other videos, we are just recycling these legendary heroes. So we're going in, we're using these for food. We're going to build them up, and it doesn't look like, and a lot of players said, hey, after 30 summons, shouldn't you get a legendary for regular summons? That is not the case. And of course, even though I rate the game all the time, that still pops up. Pretty annoying, but we'll have to deal with it. So looking at our common, and then of course the rare heroes that we got, we'll go ahead, we'll sacrifice all those, and we're going to do the same with our Radiant heroes. So we actually got a copy of Tybor this time. There's Anira, and Anira, I'm going to do the same. We're actually ascending the hero, 116 seals. So actually a lot cheaper than we've seen with Grizel, which I believe was 214. But we can go ahead, we can ascend this hero. And then of course we can go right in here and we can just sacrifice the hero 1 by 1, which is what we've been doing. Now this is to get those Radiant souls that we've been talking about. And of course it goes to the mailbox. It'll say, hey, that hero's been radiated or sacrificed complete. There we go. So ascend and remove. And that's how we've been doing it. I know, again, thinking of the souls, some players kind of commented, making sure that we're doing the Radiance in here when we actually have the hero. And the same, I'm not going to worry about Anira. I'm not going to build up Anira. So this is going to be another hero that we already have Radiant. So this is going to be another one that we're going to be using with souls. And of course, all of these we have just gotten out of those regular summons is where we've been getting them. So pulling them kind of on a regular basis. Even looking on some of the other heroes, I wish we had the ability to move or essentially to summon a couple of the other heroes, really making sure that we're getting the resources, that we're getting the Radiant Souls. And of course, like I said, number 4, really the summons. And number 5 are the hero generation itself. We need a lot more heroes. Looking at Enlightenment, we are at 10K. And I wanted to see if 10K was the max. So I want to see if 10K is actually going to give us the max, which I think it does. 75, I believe, is the max. Yep, highest probability to increase Radiance is at 75. We do have 5,000 of these. Now, T-Rock, I'm kind of on the fence with, because honestly, when you start looking at Grizel, which I know is a core 1 hero, a lot easier to get, a lot easier to use the copies. But then when we start looking at other heroes, like right here with Leah, I think I'm going to save everything. I'm going to get the Radiant Heart. I'm going to save this for Leah. And of course, looking at our growth rating here, it is a lot lower. Now, of course, I believe 10K is going to take us to 60%. And I think 60% might be the cap. I might be a little bit off, but I think at Radiance 5, it might be 60. I don't think it goes up to 75. But again, looking in here, we don't want to use the Radiance through here. We have to make sure the Enlightenment and the Radiance is going together. And again, a lot of players don't realize that. You're going to be burning through a stupid amount of Radiant Souls if you just do the Radiance up here. Because again, looking at the probability and the success rate, you're going to have to spend that 40,000 to guarantee it. Hopefully you hit it right in like 1, 2, or 3. So if you're spending like 5, 10, or 15,000, hopefully the probability is you're going to hit it here. But as it continues to get more expensive, exponentially, players have said it is cheaper to go into Token Trove and buy like a 15 Radiance 10 than it is to go ahead and Radiant the hero yourself, just for the sheer cost. And when you start looking at Token Trove and looking at the cost of the heroes itself, they are very, very expensive, which I think I might have it up in here. Let me see, because here's the YouTube, but here are the Guild of Guardians. So let me look at Legendary and let me look at Leah. So just kind of pricing out where they're at. Again, looking at Leah, let's do a caster, which I know Helia's in there as well. But looking down here at some of the, there's a 15-8, 15-8, 15-9, and I believe if we change the faction to Leah is not a Redeemer. Imperial, I think, or no, maybe she's a Keeper. She's a Keeper. So looking here, so looking at a 15-10, there's a 13-7, 12. So 15-10 right there, Radiance, that is not a Warrior. You're talking $1,500. So again, thinking of the cost of building them there, and even there's a 10-3 or a 15-10. Look at the price, guys, $1,400 to $1,490. So you have to pay attention to what you're selling, and you can see 5 players are selling of 21 heroes. So maxing them out in their entirety, the Enlightenment 15, the Radiance 10 is running about $1,500 depending on the hero that you're running and where we currently have her, which is the 10. So see, we're even a little bit further down here where she's at, like a 10-4, you're talking $300 for the hero overall. So very, very expensive to radiate the heroes or do the radiance within the heroes themselves. And guys, that is going to do it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Top 5 things definitely need to see some improvements. So looking through, guys, the adventure mode, the radiance, and how we level them, the cost, the crafting, the heroes, and of course the summons. So again, that's going to do it for today's video. Let me know what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.